So I asked the guys, South Dorset Spurs guys, have you got any questions that you want us to debate or talk about on the podcast today? So I had a question from Bob Savage. Big shout out to Bob, who organises a lot of the travel for us to get to and from the games. Ex-chairman, along with Jason, ex-chairman as well.
Don't
So
you
he
let
said,
Cat hear you say this.
yeah. This was Bob's question. How can we possibly be successful if every season half the squad are missing due to our horrendous injury list, due to mainly the training methods and high tempo match tactics? I love Ange, but just cannot see us winning fuck all if we have top players missing on a regular basis. He said second season the players would have physically adjusted to the high tempo training regime. In fact, it's got worse. Something has to change, be it the physio or the training methods. Please discuss. And I thought it was a really good point, right? Because he had these injuries issues in Celtic as well. But the idea is that you train hard, and you might pick up the injuries in the first season, but by the second season, you've kind of changed how your body reacts and so on, and you're strengthening and all the rest of it. Do we really think that the training is that hard that this is going to cause all these problems, or do we just think he's been really unlucky with these ones? The fact that it's just hit so many players.
No, I mean we had these problems with Conte, with Mourinho, with the amount of players who got injured. I think it's the medical department. It's not the manager. It's not the style. It's genuinely just the upkeep of players, because it happened with Conte. When we had Conte. Do you remember Matt Doherty, Bentancur, so arguably two of the most important players that season, when we was pushing for the what was it? It was the year after we got top four, so 2022. Doherty was out, Sessegnon was out, Bentancur was out, Kane was out. It's not an issue that is going to go away if we sack Ange. It's been an issue since Mourinho left. We've always had these kind of problems, and every year we've had an injury crisis. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse. That's all it is. So until we sort the medical department out, I don't think we're going very far. It's not the regime. It's not, because you've got to think the worst time in terms of intensity for training was Conte's first pre-season, because everyone was talking about how knackered the players were. Son and Kane threw up twice on live TV because that's how intense the training was. It's got nothing to do with how intense the training is. It comes down to the upkeep of the players and the medical staff that have been there for 15 years who have overseen about 10 plus medical crises. It's insane. It's got nothing to do with manager. Nothing.
Jace, just coming to you on this, right? Do you think that maybe the way that we monitor players' health as they're training and playing and all the rest of it, that we're missing something there, that we're letting them play more than they should do if their bodies are breaking down and all the rest of it?
There's a case for rushing them back because every game's so important. But we also got to remember some of these players were susceptible to injury before they even arrived at Tottenham. Our celebrated centre-back, Mr. Mickey van der Ven, was out constantly with a hamstring issue before he arrived at Tottenham Hotspur. I think that's quite well known. So I think there's a little bit of 50-50 there of, inept Tottenham Hotspur medical team, which goes back not only through Conte and Mourinho, but if you listen to some of the interviews with former players, it goes back into the mid-90s and
The Vodafone Big Winter Sale is now on. Save £828 with the Samsung Galaxy S24. Hurry, this deal ends the 9th of January. Vodafone, the nation's network.
For Tottenham Hotspur, so it's not something recent. You look how long your man Anderton and I know Jason Cundy, who we love very much from TalkSport, have spoken about it and how well he was treated by our medical team. So it's not a new thing. Every team out there has got injuries. It just seems that we are susceptible to a greater percentage for whatever reason. It could be the stadium pitch, could be the fact that we play on trays and they've been built in a specific way and that causes injuries, as opposed to a normal sort of standard football pitch. That's been replicated at the training ground, although we're supposed to have the most state-of-the-art training ground, one of the best in the world. So maybe we're just going through this period of just unlucky Tottenham, or there is something a little bit deeper. But that crisis has opened up the door for many players like Spence, Reguilon, people like that to come into the team, show what they can do. And on the back of Saturday's performance, certainly from Reggie and Spence, I think there's some positives to take from some of the injuries that have gone on, if you can take some positives. But, it's not going to get any better anytime soon. I think the end of January, beginning of February, might see turn the tide, but we might be in the lower, might be knocking on just a few points from the bottom three by that point if it carries on. So it needs to sort itself out pretty quick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess the main reason why I kind of call it out, and I thought it was a good question from Bob, is that when you look at where we are in the league, we're struggling. What, we 12th or something now, or whatever, and you kind of think to yourself, like, how long will we keep going for this to start to turn around? Because it's got to start turning around soon, right? If we've got any chance of getting into Europe, because that's the key. You want to be able to guarantee that through your league standing. And I know at one point it was still very, very tight between the positions, but that feels like that's kind of getting away from us a little bit. So then you've got to put all your eggs in the basket of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup's not going to get easy, and we'll come on to it in a minute against Liverpool. So I kind of just feel like, the pressure's mounting against Ange, and I know he's had the backing of the board, the dreaded backing of the board, coming as well. Alex, what's your view on Postecoglou? Are you still backing that manager, or are you for sacking that manager now?
That's the question. I want to see him. I want to see him succeed. I can see where he's coming from. I mean, from he doesn't seem to have a lot of luck, like I say, with the training, with the players being injured. A lot of people don't like the way he plays his football, but we're all coming round to that. It is exciting. Most of it is exciting anyway. I want to back him, but at the same time, I want to see some results, because we're the ones walking down the street and everyone's taking the piss. You know, he's got to. I mean, I think we said this before Christmas. Oh, if we don't win against Wolves, he's gone. Oh, if we don't win against Newcastle, he's gone. It's like, if you don't win against like Liverpool tomorrow, oh, he's gone. But he's not. He's got backing from the board, like you just said. That was confirmed today. I just want to see some more results, mate. It's all right, nice. It's all right him saying, we play good football, nice looking football, entertaining football. I think we said before, if you want entertainment, mate, go down to West End and look at a fucking show. We want to see football. We want to see some results. We want to see some progression. And at the moment, we're just treading water. Do you know what I mean? So
I get it. I would like to see. I would like to see a project really given some backing, and that's the thing that I keep hanging on to. Is this, for me? This isn't about Postecoglou. This is about the board and about the club making a stand to kind of move us forward. I do like the entertaining football. I do like when we play good football, we look good. We play really, really well, and we look good, and we blow teams apart. The only team that's really stitched us and really smashed us is Liverpool. Every other game that we've lost by one goal, right? So that says that we're not this massively open side who gets smashed every week, and all the goals are not coming from set pieces. All the goals are not coming from being so open at the back or anything like that. Some of it's just individual errors and mistakes and all the rest of it. And I just think to myself, I keep hanging on to the idea of, if we back the manager and really give him depth of squad, a combination of young, exciting players coming through and experienced players that know what they're doing, what could he achieve? Could he get somewhere? Mason, I think you wanted to say something, and I cut over you, mate. Go on. You want to say something?
The bigger question is if you sack Ange, who are you going to get? Because everyone else that we wanted is now in a job. Nagelsmann, Germany coach. Tuchel, England coach. Arne Slot, he's at Liverpool. Every single Amorim, All the managers we've ever been linked to are now in different jobs, which, if I'm being honest, are more exciting than our project. Because the past, I mean, we're fighting for Europa League every year now. I think if we sack Ange, it's just going to make a bigger problem. Because who are you going to get in? We've signed so many players that fit his system, his high intensity football. And I'm not being funny. Van der Ven without a high line, he's not a very good player. When it comes down to 1v1 and tidying up round the back, Van der Ven is world class. But if you can imagine like a low block or mid blocked Spurs, what's Van der Ven going to do? Because 9 times out of 10 when it's a 1-on-1, he gets sat down. We are building for an Ange squad. We're not building for, say, whoever we get afterwards. We're building for Ange. If we sack him now, we're back at square one. And I think people have got to realise that this isn't Ange's fault that all the players are out. It is the medical department that has plagued us and absolutely broken down our players years after years after years. And it's always the manager that takes the flak for the poor run of results because of our players are always out. So it's until start of the season, I said that get the medical department out. We can't have it again. I got ripped a new one online saying what's the medical department got to do with this? Got to do with that. Look at it now. Every other team, let's even just bring up Odegaard for an example. His ACL injury should take 3 to 4 months. We have been told he's going to wait until the end of the season until we see Odegaard back. Why? Richarlison as well. He should have been a 1 month injury. He's been out for about 3. You could talk about Romero and Van der Ven when we played Chelsea. Who gave them the clear to play? Because it wasn't going, you're injured, you're playing. It's the medical department that have sat there and gone, they're fit to play. They're fit to play. They're both injured in the same game. Yeah. So I don't think it's down to Ange. I don't think it's down to the training. If we sack Ange, it's going to be we're going to be having the exact same conversation in about 6 months, maybe even a season's time. It's going to be players are out, results aren't getting there, get them gone. It's like even when we had Nuno, before we got Conte, the day before Nuno got sacked, there was a post going around from the Times saying Nuno has got full trust by the board. We sacked him a day later. So it doesn't matter what's coming out of the news right now. Ange could get sacked tomorrow morning, and we could get in Graham Potter. It's not going to fix the situation with injuries and so on. It's just going to keep repeating itself. And that's why this is a project. People need to start realising that projects take time. They're not down the road. Every year they got clowned for having Arteta in charge. Now, although they've won fuck all, they are challenging every year. They're challenging every year for titles. And that's what happens when you back a manager. If we sack Ange, we're going to be back to square one. And nothing's going to get fixed. Nothing.